Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to United by Education, another live this week. And I'm really excited to have with me here a very inspirational woman, someone who has beaten the odds and all of the challenges that have been presented to her in life. And today we're going to talk about her book, which had come out first in Spanish as Yo Digo No Más, but now it has come out in English, I Say No More. And I would like to welcome Maria Trusa, CEO of Forme Medical Center and Urgent Care in White Plains, New York, and Dominican, from the Dominican Republic. Welcome.
Thank you, Kristi, for having me on your show. It was a pleasure being on the Spanish show, which it was very interesting because I could imagine that you spoke Spanish as well as you did. And I'm very proud of you to be someone that is so mission focused, dedicated to the Dominican children, educating the Dominican children. So for me, it is truly an honor to join you tonight on your show. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really want right now to come across and to share this incredible story of yours from my perspective as an educator and seeing how many young adults and grown adults feel hopeless, feel like they were dealt a bad hand, and I think it's really important to get stories like yours out there so that people in this world who feel like they can't overcome the challenges, they can't be successful, can see, wow, this is a woman incarnate who has done all of this in everything that you have come across and up against, and you have been successful time and time again. And I really feel right now getting these stories out is so important. So why don't you bring us back to your life, your childhood in the Dominican Republic, and how you grew up, because you weren't from a middle-class family. So tell us about that.
So, going back to what you just said, because I think the point is extremely important. We need to be able to hear stories like mine. And this is one of the reasons why I decided after 47 years that I was going to speak up, because I am someone that did not stay in the victim mode. There is a tendency when we go through trauma in our lives that we get stuck and we become a victim of the trauma, and we take this on for the rest of our lives. That is detrimental. That is, I think, one of the saddest thing about traumas, that most of the people that go through trauma, they stay in the victim mode. So at some point, I decided to get out of the victim mode. But taking you back to the Dominican Republic, I was born and raised in the DR. I actually came to the United States when I was 15 years old. And during the first decade of my life, I went through, I know, it was actually the hardest time in the 56 years that I've lived so far. So it was, I was 8 years old. My mom had to, I'm not going to give you the whole book because you need to buy the book.
The book, because I read it and it's amazing. I read it in Spanish.
It took me close to a year to write the book. So I can't give it to you in 40 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever we're going to talk here. But my mom had to make a decision to leave the Dominican Republic because my father, unfortunately, had become an alcoholic, which is a big issue in the DR. You know, men drink a lot, and my father became someone that was a good man at the beginning, but got stuck in the alcohol world, and he became totally irresponsible. And my mom decided that at some point she said no more. So, but that meant really serious decisions that she had to face. And she decided to come to the United States and leave her 3 youngest children. We're 5. So my older brothers, 2 of them came with her to work and support us, but she didn't have enough money to leave us in a home. So I ended up going to a cousin's house. My other brother went to a friend's house. And then my little brother went to my father's parents. And that started this horrible journey of my life. I mean, imagine at the age of 8, your entire family is completely broken. Your mom is coming to a country you don't know if you're going to see her. I didn't know when I was going to see my mom. She was undocumented. So the uncertainty, and then you go to a place where you really are no one. I mean, I went to my cousin's house, and I talk about it in the book. I'm grateful that they gave me a home, but they were not ready for me. I was a child. So I ended up becoming a very independent child at the age of 8. And then my father and my mother was able, after a year, I actually said to my mom, I really don't want to live if I'm going to continue living this way. I miss my brothers. I missed her. I was totally broken. I used to get headaches. There's one story that I always say because it's something that I remember so vividly. I went underneath a bed and I stayed there an entire day to see if anybody would find me, if anybody would actually look for me. And no one did. No one. So that's the life that I lived until 9 years old, when my mom was able to raise enough money and my brothers to get a house and get someone to take care of us, Paula, who actually is still in our lives. She's another mother to us. We take care of her in the Dominican Republic. And the journey, the painful journey began one night when my father, who was supposed to be my protector, decided to come one night and with a man that was a witchcraft man that in town that everybody sort of respected, and whatever he said, people would do. So my father decided that he was going to take my little brother in the middle of the night. And in the midst of my little brother crying, we woke up, and I said to my father, you're not taking him. And we're fighting for my father not to take him. And then my father said, then you go. So I went, and my father left me with this man. This man forced me to drink a bottle of whiskey nonstop at the age of 9 years old. And it turned out to be a blessing because I really did not experience the rape the way that I would have if I was awake, if I was intoxicated by this whiskey. But this man raped me an entire night until he was exhausted and he couldn't anymore. So he let me go. And I woke up in the morning and I knew I was raped. He had destroyed me. I could hardly walk. I was bleeding nonstop. And that was the hottest night of my entire 56 years. It was the night that destroyed my innocence, destroyed my life, destroyed the life of my family. And the journey of destruction for me, it began very quickly, because even after that, I had to have surgery because he abused me so badly that my right ovary got infected and it went and twisted inside my fallopian tubes, it twisted my fallopian tubes. So I ended up having a scar with me that I still have, that reminded me of that night every single day of my life. So as you can imagine, the journey after that was horrible, just unexplicable, unexplicable.
What? As we know, this happens, unfortunately, way too often, very often, every day. How did you, as a little girl, I mean, maybe you don't remember exactly, but how did you, as a little girl, how were you able to face, to mentally understand what happened to you? You were 9 years old.
Yeah.
What did you do after it happened?
So my mom was able to come back a few months later, about a month later after it happened. And she stayed for a little bit. And I remember one incident where I was depressed. I cried every day. I cried every single day. I don't remember a day that I did not cry. And there was one day where I was laying down in the concrete floor. As you know, we have concrete floor. And Kristi, I wanted to die. I wanted to die. So there was an experience that I had, and I was praying that the floor could suck me and just take me away because the pain was so bad. I just couldn't take it. And my mom that day, she choked me. She actually kicked me and said, "Get up. You're going to get up and you're going to stop. Enough. You stop crying. This is enough. You're going to have to get a life." And I was very, very angry at my mother when she did that. But ironically, because I've done so much soul searching and a lot of therapy, and I was talking to a therapist that specializes in trauma, and she said to me, "You don't even know, but your mother was the catalyst for you to shake it off and start creating a life." Without my mom knowing that tough love that I was very angry and resented her, by the way, for many, many years for that incident. I was like, how heartless are you? You can't feel what I feel. I am dying inside.
And that moment, you're 9 years old, also, not just a young woman. You're 9.
Nine.
So
Yeah. But you know, Kristi, what I didn't know was until later that I wasn't the only one dying inside. My mom was dying inside. She took the tough route because that was my mom. I didn't understand the woman that she was until later on. And I'm blessed because I was able to create that connection with her young. You know, I was in my 30s, I would say, when I started doing so much work. And then I started working in my relationship with her and understanding that this connection that I had. And I realized that my mom was a woman that taught me how to move mountains. I learned to move mountains because of that amazing woman that showed us from the beginning that you don't stop. You don't dwell in your pain. You don't become a victim. You figure it out, even while you're going through the pain. So an amazing experience.
wow, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, after that, now it wasn't until you were 15 that you ended up going to the United States, where you are now. How did that change affect your life? Here you are, you're going to the United States. At that point in time, Did you talk about it anymore, or it was
Never,
never?
never. That incident, after it happened, it was never talked about. We buried it, all of us. And I came to the United States. I started to get my, I think I was born with, I had a content soul. I had this zest for life, and it was obviously taken away very quickly. But I started creating friendships, and I started going to school, and I was doing well in school. But then coming to the United States, there was a lot of uncertainties again. I didn't speak the language, so I come in here. I was excited though. I said, I'm leaving back like the most painful experience of my life. And I remember saying, I know that God has something better for me, because I think I paid my dues when I was a kid. Like, it can get worse than that.
Right.
So I was still very excited, but definitely the challenges of not being able to speak a word of English. And you come where I'm doing really well in the Dominican Republic in high school, and I come here and I couldn't, I went to high school. There was no bilingual program then. I wasn't in a bilingual program. I sat in the classroom understanding nothing. And I sat like that for about, I would say, 6 months. I was failing. I would take a test. I failed every test. And then somehow, I don't know how, but started kicking in, and I started talking to, the good thing is that I was sort of forced into a American world, because where I was going to school, there wasn't a lot of Hispanics. So I ended up having to speak with friends. So I think ultimately your brain, especially you're still young at the age of 15, your brain is developing, and I was able to learn English. And believe it or not, that year that I lost, I was able to gain it later on. So I started, the journey of going to school, and then I started acclimating to the American world, and I started to like it.
What do you say? Because obviously there's a lot of teenagers right now and young children, young adults, who go from the Dominican Republic, or their dream is to go from the Dominican Republic to the United States. Yet when they get there, they have the same experiences as you did, being don't speak the language, don't know what to do. So they tend to kind of group with what they know. What advice do you give for them to not just settle into what they know and are comfortable with? What do you tell them in that, what's so important? What's the key thing for them to do to be able to create, which what we're going to talk about eventually in a little bit, what you created for yourself, which is incredible.
So the biggest advice is get uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, you're stuck. You need to be uncomfortable. So, and this is what you said, a lot of Dominicans go to Washington Heights. That's actually where I ended up at the beginning, but I didn't. Thank God, I have to say, and I love Washington Heights. I go there all the time to acclimate with my Dominicans and eat at the restaurants and all of that. But one of the things that happens when you live in Washington Heights is that you never really fully become an American. You never acclimate to the American culture. You stay stuck in the Dominican culture, and there's nothing wrong with it. I love my Dominican culture. I am Dominican and I'm American, but I'm here and I'm an American while I'm here. I am a Dominican when I'm in the Dominican Republic. So you need to be able to get out of the structure, get out of the comfort zone, and start talking in English with find people that are going to be patient with you, and explain to them that you want you want to learn the language, that you want to be able to speak English, and that to be patient with you. And I would always do this. Like I would say, listen, I'm trying my hardest, but it is really hard. And if you could be patient with me, and just if I say things that you don't understand, just let me know. Just let me know. And correct me. So the best thing to do, really get totally uncomfortable. If that's my advice, get uncomfortable, because you're not going to grow if you get stuck. If you speak Spanish all the time, you're definitely not going to be able to acclimate. And think also that somehow, because I remember thinking this, we think that the people that speak English are better than we are. So we look at them as, oh, I can't really, they're not going to want to talk to me, or, like they're better than me. And that insecurity, again, is going to continue keeping you back. So nobody's better than you. People, this is something that I learned through the years, obviously, but at this point, I can talk to the president. I don't care who's here. Nobody's better than me. I can talk to anyone. And that's the mentality that we need to start developing, that we're human beings first, and we're here to help each other. And you'll be surprised how many people actually want to help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's true. And it's very true, because even for myself, I mean, even though, I wasn't an immigrant, but my dad was, he came from Italy. But that's the thing, that, even there's ways to not forget the traditions and the roots and everything where you came, but yet to acclimate to the society, to become part of that. And that's excellent advice, because it's really, really important. And I think that a lot of times, and I know people here who have gone there, friends that I've made since I moved here, yet they've been there for 3 or 4 years, yet barely speak still a word of English. And that's not really going to help, but that's very true. And that's excellent. So bring us to the moment where, okay, so you learn English, and then you go out and you're like, all right, I've got English, I know this, I'm going to go get a job. And
yep. So I decided that, I went to high school, and I was married at the age of 17, by the way, which is insane. And you have to read my book. I'm sharing with you in my book all of the challenges that I had by being married to a Dominican, a macho man. And definitely, yep, I Say No More. That's the book. You got to buy it. You can go to Amazon, or you can go to mariatrusa.org and get it. And guess what, Kristi? The book is coming out in Audible in Spanish. And I'm going to do the English version. I'm going to start working on that in October. I am going to be the Audible. I'm going to do the Audible. I'm very excited about that. But anyway, so I decided, to become a medical assistant. I wanted to be a doctor. That was my dream. I come from a family of doctors, nurses, and I said, I'm going to be a doctor, an internist. Like, I had it all figured out. But unfortunately, I got married at the age of 17, and things changed. But I ended up having my son, at the age of 19. So I don't regret that chapter, because it was, I have amazing children, and they give me the biggest happiness of my life comes from that source, my children. Mm-hmm. So, but I decided to become a medical assistant, because I said that's the closest I can get to be with doctors. So I didn't realize that would open up the opportunity of a lifetime for me. And to make a long story short, I was able to get a job in an affluent community in Scarsdale, New York. And it was a Jewish medical center. All the doctors were Jewish. So I go in as this, and I had a heavy accent, because my accent is something that I worked on. And this is it. This is my accent, but I'm not changing it because I'm adding flavor to the English language. I joke around. I said,
That's right. That's right.
this is me. So, but my accent was really heavy, and it was getting in the way of me getting a good job. So I knew that I had to improve it. And I remember going to Westchester Community College just to take speech communication classes, because I said, if I'm going to better myself, I need to speak better because my accent was too heavy. But anyway, they gave me the opportunity, and they started to see something in me that I didn't even know. I was a medical assistant, and in 2 years, I ended up, and you'll read the book, and I'll give you all the details of how that happened. I became a medical manager, and then 2 years later, I am the executive director of a multi-million-dollar medical center where it was all Americans. So I couldn't speak Spanish there. So English started to become, in a way, my primary language because I was always at work. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of time away from my children to be able to get to where I got. But I had a 26-year career at Scarsdale Medical Group. This is the center that I was the executive director. And I was able to really have a very successful career, making money that I never imagined. And it all happened, Kristi, because I truly imagined that I could do this. I was like, I could do this. As soon as I started getting into the managerial position, I said, I could do something better. I could grow this. So I started imagining it, and then I started believing it, and I started creating it. That is the formula, by the way. All you listeners, let me tell you, the formula is actually simple. But it's simple, but it's hard to accept it. It is visualizing, it is believing, it is creating. That is it. And if you look at your life right now and you're not where you want to be, what are you visualizing? You're visualizing what you don't have. You're saying, I don't have money. I'm never going to have a house. I'm never going to get a car. I am never going to get a better job. You're visualizing that, you are affirming it, and you're believing it because you are putting it out into words, and words have power. And then you create it. So the same thing, you could start shifting, and then your actions are going to match what you're speaking, what you're visualizing, what you're believing, and you're going to create a different life. And that's what happened to me at Scarsdale.
And that's really key. And that's a very, very important point, that a lot of people just think, oh, there's no way. No. However, it's just that for now, I might not see a way. You might not know how it's going to happen, but that's okay. However, changing and turning that mental flip and saying, instead of saying, I don't have, and saying, I have, this is what I want, and believing in yourself. I think that truly, if there's nothing else for anyone to get out of what is truly the power of success, or what creates success, it is that. And it all starts with your thoughts and your mind, but then also what actions are you taking to get to that moment?
Yep. I think when you understand it, the action starts becoming available for you because you are believing it. So if you believe it, you're going to start taking actions that are going to lead towards that goal. It's the power of affirmations. But you definitely, it's not just affirming. I mean, you really have to visualize it. You have to believe it internally to the core. And then the actions are going to come. And how it's going to happen, guess what? I talk about this. I say, it's none of your business.
Right.
It will happen. Trust me. Read my book. Everything I visualize, I have gotten in my life. I am
it's
proud
true.
to say.
But and the other thing is too is that people need to realize that there are bumps in the road. You had bumps in the road, like
Many.
okay, as a child, huge, and then being 15, coming to the United States, not speaking any English. Okay, you overcame that. Then being told, well, you can't have a job because of your accent. Then you kept on persevering, and then you got to have the first, position finally. Then you were executive manager, and now you've created your own clinic. So, and that's not to say that there aren't going to be those moments of tests and trial in one's life, and it's not because it's trying to pull you down, but sometimes, whether you call it the Lord, whether you call it the universe, it's trying to shift you in the right direction by putting those bumps there. And you make it, however, what you've done is truly incredible, because in this moment, I truly feel that you are also the vehicle, so to speak, that the Lord is using, or the universe is using to help others right now. And he's doing that through you. And
Thank you.
unfortunately, you had to go through very many difficult times. However, he chose you.
I believe that. I definitely understand how he has chosen me to, and actually, I have to say, we all have. He's chosen a purpose for all of us. But because we get stuck, we're not able to see the purpose. I was going to say, behind the hardest, the challenge, the biggest opportunities are hidden behind the hardest challenges. And I can tell you that I'm living proof. Everything is not easy. Actually, when it's hard, it's when you really can taste the success. For me, I can tell you that now I'm a CEO. I own my own medical center, which I visualized. I believed I could get it, and I got it. I did it. And having that medical center, being focused on a mission to help the underserved community, especially the undocumented population that doesn't have insurance, that became my calling. And I was present to that. And that's why, out of the blue, I decided to leave my job and leave all the money behind. And the money became non-important to me. The mission was extremely clear. And I decided to give it up. And people thought I was crazy. And I said, I know what I need. I'm giving myself 3 months. I am going to have a medical center dedicated to the Latino community, the underserved community, the undocumented population. And it's going to be a beautiful center where we're going to treat our community with dignity. We are going to give them transparent care, available, accessible to them, and it's going to be culturally sensitive. And guess what? In 3 months, I had that. And it has been the hardest of my professional life to build what we have built. It's been the hardest thing I've done. But I can tell you today, we are successful. We are helping over 20,000 people. And it's been incredible, an incredible journey, but it's been a journey full of challenges, full of challenges.
Absolutely. And no great feat in life is without those challenges, and that's what I think is very important for many people to realize, that it's not just all, hey, I'm just going to sit back and be comfortable and all right, I did what I needed to do, and now everything's just going to work out the way I want it to. They have to realize that those challenges are going to come forever, but they make you a better person. They make you grow, and they're there for a reason. So tell us now, while we kind of come towards the end, about your movement, the book. First, wait, hold on. I put those in two different. I want to put one before the other. Now, at the end of each chapter in the book, you provide your tools.
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Because my book, I didn't want it to be my story. We all have a story. Everybody could write a book. The biggest gift that I could give to people and I could leave as a legacy is my journey. How did I do it? I'm giving you a guide that you can utilize. And that was my goal when I decided to write the book. I said, it's not going to be just about my story. I want every chapter to have a gift, because I want to teach everyone that in every chapter of your life, no matter how bad it was, there was a gift that we couldn't see. And sometimes we never get to see the gift because we are so stuck in victim mode that you are just, the pain doesn't allow you to see it. So who could imagine that I could find a gift in being raped the way that I was raped at the age of 9? Well, read my book and you'll see the gift in that chapter. And then you get to see you can utilize any of the tools, because I'm pretty, I decided that I was going to really share everything. And my book is authentically and very, how do I call it? Radically honest. I give you all my mistakes, all the good, all the bad, all the ugly. I don't hide it. I'm truly an open book. And I share it with everyone because I wanted the book to be a guide of life. And I know that I can help a lot of people. I can impact a lot of lives with this book.
Yes, and that is true. And I 100% agree with that. It really is an incredible book. Now, tell us about the movement. I say no more, yo digo no más.
Yes.
What is it about, and what are you doing?
So we are launching the books and the movement. October 2nd is going to be in Spanish. October 8th is going to be in English. And the idea is, from the book came the movement. And the movement came because as I started breaking the silence and I started to speak up, I realized that sexual abuse in the Latino family structure is a pandemic. It is a silent pandemic. And it is a silent pandemic that actually, more than ever, I realized that it is one of the reasons we are so oppressed. The Latino community is oppressed. Our relationships with money, our relationship with our bodies. Many of us are overweight. Many people have diabetes, hypertension, depression. All of that oppression comes from generations through generations. We're passing it along to our kids. And for me, the movement is about awareness that this exists. And we are going to be talking about it, and we are going to get let the how do they say, the cat out of the box, or we're opening say it again.
You're letting the cat out of the bag.
Out of the bag. That's what we're doing here. And with me speaking, I realize that there are so many people that are going to come out and tell their story and say no more. We say no more. I say no more for the next generation. I say no more for my children, my grandchildren. There's no more. We need to stop this. We need to go through a generational transformation. And it begins with, I say no more. Yo digo no más. Yo digo no más. We are all going to say no more. And we're going to unite on this movement. And it is one of the things that has me the most excited, because I know someday when I'm gone, people would say, Maria Trusa started the generational transformation of the Latino community, the Latino culture. And this will be not just in the United States, this is worldwide.
Absolutely. And it's so true, and it's so necessary. So necessary. Because there is the need to open, to speak out, to break the silence, as you said before, and to say no more. Like you said, there no more. This is something that needs to be changed culturally.
Culturally.
Yeah, very much so. And so here is the book in English, I Say No More. And there is it. Is that in Spanish? Oh, there you have it.
No, it is in English. So.
The actual book. I have the screenshot over here on my iPad. And you can go to mariatrusa.org. And I saw that the English, it's on ebook.
It's on ebook too.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, in Amazon, you can go to Amazon and get it too.
You can go to Amazon and get it. Or if you're and I like a physical book, but if you're an Amazon, if you are an e-reader or whatever, like you can go and get the ebook on your website, mariatrusa.org.
And Kristi, I want to share that also. I have a podcast that I do. It's on my website, but it's on Anchor, it's Spotify, and they're reflections, my daily reflections, which is something that I've been doing forever, for a long, long time. And I share all of my reflections every day. Like today, I shared a reflection on when you are resentful. Be careful, because you are hurting sometimes the people you love the most. And that goes for all of the divorced people out there. When you're hurting, you think you're hurting your ex, right? Mm-hmm. But then you're ultimately hurting the person you love the most. And I share a reflection of something that happened today with me, because I am an open book. So I continue to be open.
Right. Now, in your podcast, you can hear that on your website?
Yes, I have. My podcast is on the website. It's on Anchor, Spotify. There's other platforms.
And what time is your podcast usually on every day?
It's daily. Sometimes normally they post it around 7 o'clock at night.
Okay. Wonderful. That's so exciting. I did not know that. Now I know a lot of things. I just didn't know that you do the Monday night. You do reflections on Monday in English, and
yes.
your Facebook Live.
Yep.
And is that on the Formé, or is that on
Formé, under Formé? And today I do Reflexiones con María in Spanish every Wednesday.
On Wednesdays, and those are wonderful too. And I've been a guest on there too. So.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much again for taking your time with me. I was just telling Alejandra the other day that I think this could really make a really, your life story is so inspirational that it could be a Hollywood blockbuster movie. And I'm not saying that because it sounds like, very, glamorous in the sense of everything that you've gone through. I just feel it's one of those stories that the more people that hear about it and can be inspired from it, the better everybody will be. That's what I mean by it. But yes,
I appreciate that, Kristi. I appreciate that. And I would love for that to happen, because the idea is, I started helping a few hundred people. And then I said, I want to help thousands of people. Mm-hmm. And now I want to impact millions of people before I leave.
That's right. I agree with you there. That's wonderful. Well, thank you again. Thank you to everyone watching or listening, and God bless you. And I will talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. Mwah.